Well, work has begun on the van. Trying to get it insulated. The stuff you see is a 3/4 inch styrofoam insulation. It's got a mylar backing on the other side. I didn't want to use the spray adhesive because my walls are really curved. This is a 91 model van. So I wanted to use liquid nails so I could run about a 1/4 inch bead to a 1/2 inch bead on the back side and then press it up against the wall. Well, it worked pretty good for the pieces that I got cut tight enough to fit in. Let me show you my problem. On this rib right here, I've got about 3 inches down along here to the wall. From here to here is about 3.5 inches. Up here, I've only got 2 inches in depth. And then out of that 2 inches, you have this other rib, and it sticks up an inch at least, about 3/4. It's about the same thickness as the insulation. So I've got to go from 2 inches up here to about 3.5 down here. So what I was going to do was layer it in. Put 2 pieces of this 3/4 up here, and then maybe a sheet. I think they've got some 1/4 inch, a sheet of that, and then layer it down here. I've got some 2 inch EPS, the green board or pink board. Up here it happens to be green. Well, it just wasn't going to work out good. I was going to have an air gap back here between this curve that's pretty severe and because you can't bend that EPS. It does not bend. It's got a little bit of flex to it, but you're talking maybe 1/8 of an inch flex in this 2 to 3 foot length here. So that wasn't going to work, which, you know, actually if you've got a little airspace, that's a good thing. It actually helps with the insulation, but I would lose the thickness of the insulation I could use. And the more insulation, the better off you are. So what I've come up with is a different plan, and I'll have to film it as I go to kind of show you what I mean. But I'll try to explain it here. I'm going to use some more of this 3/4 inch. I'll cut my length from here to the floor, and then I'll just lay it in, and then I'll run my first couple courses of boards that's going to serve as my wall, and I'll come up about 6 inches high, and then I'm going to use the can spray foam, great stuff, and I'm going to try it first with the maximum expanding, and I'll spray down in that 6 inch and let that foam expand. As it expands, it should push the styrofoam up against the wall and then expand up. I'll have to do it maybe 6 inches up at a time, so it's going to take a while to get my walls done, but I'll actually be insulating and building the wall as I go. Now, another problem I ran into, well, let me state this: these ribs that run up and down are not square with the floor. So you've got to be careful when you cut this stuff to get measurements from one rib to the other at the bottom and then at the top, and then cut your piece to get it to fit in right. As I say, nothing in them is square. It's not like building a house. Alright, another problem I ran into is at the fender wells. On the fender wells, you don't have a rib right there anywhere near this point that you can run wall boards to and screw them off to make them sturdy. Up here it's no problem because you can go from this rib to this rib right on top of the fender well, and it's no problem. But down along this curve here, you're going to have to cut your boards because you're only using maybe 6-inch boards. Well, 6 inches is going to stop right here. You've got no rib here to anchor it to. So you've got to come up with some way of ribbing this. Well, I didn't want to add ribs. You may have to add 2. You know, you've got maybe 6 inches here, and then another 6 inches will be here. So you'd have to have another rib here, and then you've got that one there. So what I did, I bought some glued board. You can buy this at Lowe's. It's just a long board. I'll try to get you a better picture of one here in a minute. But it's 16 inches wide. And I bought an 8-foot piece. I actually bought 2 so I can do the side behind me. And then you got to take cardboard, set it down on top of your fender well, start marking your pattern and cutting and marking and cutting till you finally get a cardboard pattern made. I'll give you another idea. Here's my cardboard pattern. And it just kind of fits on there like that. And you've still got to, it's a trick. You're just going to have to work it out if you try this on your own. But once you get your cardboard pattern made, you can lay it down on your glue board and trace out your pattern. Alright, then after you get your pattern, you got to take and cut it out. And then you've got this rib in the middle of the fender well, so you're going to have to split it right there. So I split it, and I've got some L brackets to the back side to hold this where it won't move. And then on this rib, I cut the board to go behind the rib and come up flush, and then I just screwed through to it. Now I can run my boards, and anywhere they stop, I've got something to screw them off to along this fender well. And then once I slide my insulation down in behind here, I take my great stuff foam and squirt it down in behind this board, and that should mash it up against the wall and expand up and should super insulate the van. So I wanted to show you what I've got going on so far. It's kind of hard to film this as I go, and right now it's so slow going with having to make the pattern and cut everything out. I'm doing this by myself, don't really have anybody here that can help all the time, and then I drive a truck, so I'm gone most of the time. I'm usually home 2 or 3 days on the weekend, but I can't work on it through the week because I'm gone. So, and then I've got dental appointments going on right now, and I try to get my granddaughter every other weekend, so it's pretty slow. But I will finish up this other side around the fender well, and then I'll be ready to start building my walls. And when I start building the walls, it should go a little bit faster, and I can take a tripod and set up in here and maybe show you and give you a better idea of what I'm talking about and how it's going to look, how it's going to go, and whether it works or not. Failures are big. Right here, this was a big failure. I didn't get it cut tight enough, and the liquid nails didn't hold it, and it sagged down overnight. So We'll have to stuff that back up under the roof there and get it done. And then another big problem is going to be back here in this corner. The newer vans are not built like this, so they're a little bit easier than these older vans, but this is going to be a real show right here. You've got this is probably 1.5 feet along the bottom. That's going to have to, and it's curved from here to here, and it's straight from here to here, and then this protrudes out past the rib here. So that's going to be a trick, and you can't, so as it comes up back here at the back door, this rib curves in that way, as well as having this curve here. So as you go up, you've only got from here to here is 1 foot or a little less, maybe 10 inches or so, with a slight curve here. So this is going to be a real show to get this part of the wall built. But I've got some ideas for that. We'll just have to see how it goes. And that's on both sides. The only thing on the passenger side, I don't have this to deal with. This is the gas filler neck in behind there. So we'll see how it goes. I may save this until I start the wall build and edit it all together and just post it all at once. I don't know. I have to see how long this is. But there's the start of it. That came out really well. We'll just have to see how it works. I'll talk to you later.